What Pokemon teams would the main cast of Hazbin Hotel have? That's what we're talking about today. I'm only going to be doing the main cast that lives in or works in the hotel, plus one bonus one at the end for funsies. And if you want to see me talk about what Pokemon teams more characters in the show would have, or other shows, maybe talk about Demon Overlords or the Hell of a Boss characters or whatever, then like the video to tell me that this is something you're into, subscribe, become a member, and let me know in the comments. I'm bound by the gaze of the audience.
Once I figure out how to unclip my wings.
Quick few disclaimers. I am not a professional Pokemon player, so this is purely a vibes and fun-based list. I'm not evaluating any competitive nature to this. Also, when it comes to pronouncing Pokemon names, Also, I only really know Pokemon up to Gen 6. There are Pokemon in this list that are further than that, but since I'm less familiar, let me know in the comments also if there are other choices that are newer that might be better fits for these teams that I don't know, because I don't really care about the new Pokemon game.
Howdy do, fellow kids.
And lastly, shout out to the One Piece YouTuber Tekken101, who I saw do this with One Piece characters, and I thought it would be fun to do it for Hazbin Hotel. I had other videos planned, but I watched this yesterday and thought it looked really fun. So now here we are. Now let us begin. Let's start with the Princess of Hell herself, Charlie. The first one on her team is gonna be...
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Klefki. Cause, you know, it's the hotel! She's got the keys to the kingdom! It reminded me of her little key cat that she has, or whatever the weird animal is. Not much deeper than that, but it really works for her role in the series. Number 2, Jigglypuff. Jigglypuff is the theater star that would certainly accompany Charlie on the front stage. She's fluffing adorable, just like Charlie, and I think that they just work perfectly together. Number 3, Meloetta. Similar logic to Jigglypuff, this character is just completely like a musical character.
Wow, what a voice!
It gives the lovely sensation of a silken veil wafting down from the sky to gently surround and comfort us with a melody from nature itself.
What?
They're also legendary, and I think that that works because Charlie's also kind of legendary in her own universe and where she is in the show, so these two seemed like a perfect choice for me. Number 4 is Chandelure. Chandelure. This is literally a ghost chandelier. Not only would this just be a lovely light fixture for the hotel, but Charlie can work with this thing to rehabilitate sinners. Hear me out. The Alpha Sapphire Pokedex entry for this Pokemon says, "The spirits burned up in its ominous flame lose their way and wander this world forever. Until they find Charlie! Am I right?" And you know, then she saves them from the flaming depths of hell. I think that works narratively. And if you don't... Number 5.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Pikachu!
Come on, everyone. Charlie's got pure protagonist energy.
Alright, get on up here.
Pikachu is the pure protagonist Pokemon. They're both high energy. Pikachu's a being of light. Charlie's kind of a being of light. They just go together like an analogy of two things that go really good together. And for what it's worth, I want to give almost everybody a starter just because it's kind of fun. And Pikachu for me is the starter for Charlie. And lastly, if you didn't think any of those were epic enough, I think Galarian Moltres would be perfect for Charlie as well. This dark flying beast would be something amazing to watch Charlie ride into battle on. I also thought... Spoilers, by the way, if you haven't seen the whole show. I also thought when Charlie fought Adam that she kind of had like a Talon. It looked like a Talon to me. So I think these two are like soul sisters. I think this one properly represents that like fiery beast that is within Charlie and the legendary epic status that she totally has within her. Alright, so this is Charlie and her 6 Pokemon. Let me know what you think. Right on to the next one, we're doing Husk. And the first one I wanted to roll with is Sableye. This thing. Pokedex entry for this one says it's a fiend for gemstones. It literally is like a fiend. It's like a drug fiend for pretty gems.
Oh, yeah.
And if you know anything about Husk, he's kind of got a gambling problem.
I got an appetite for gambling.
I've got an appetite for sampling every...
Cricket! That's a bad word!
The two could be fiending for gemstones together, and he's got this crazy dark ghost demon vibe going on, so I think that they work perfectly. Next one is Honchkrow. This Pokemon can have the ability Super Luck, which also kind of plays into the gambling thing. But honestly, this one's just kind of a vibes choice. I feel like I could see Husk rolling with a mob, if not just being a straight up mob boss himself. I mean, he was an overlord. I think these two could do a lot of really awesome crimes together. Next one up is Ludicolo. Okay, you might be wondering, why is this goofy looking motherfucker out here with Husk? Husk is an alcoholic also, or at least used to be. Tell me this isn't the Pokemon that would have an alcohol addiction. Look at this guy.
Another round, extra shot, black as night, thank you, sweetie.
I don't care what any of you say, the two of these guys are getting shit-faced and having fantastic times together. Next one up has a little more meaning. I chose Shedinja because this is the Husk of the bug it used to be.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Okay, stupid puns aside, I actually like this for more meaning than that. One of their dex entries is a discarded bug shell that came to life. This actually kind of mirrors the character arc that I think Husk is going for. He is kind of a broken version of the person that he used to be. And he's also kind of trying to find a new stride with a new identity that's coming with that in the series. I think this Pokemon actually symbolizes that struggle really well, and that Husk would actually find a little bit of companionship with him for that reason. Next one is Porygon. Guys, this is the gambling guy in the show. I had to give them the biggest prize for the game corner in most of the Pokemon games. Porygon is the most expensive thing that you can win from literally gambling in the Pokemon games. Wow, good job, Pokemon. Way to encourage our youth to gamble. You actually had to spend hours playing Voltorb Switch or the other weird game, or, I mean, you could just spend a bunch of money and end up buying it. Either way, I think this is an awesome prize for the hours of time that Husk has put into money. And last one, if you were wondering if this guy was gonna have a starter, he is Incineroar. I'm basic. Husk is a cat in hell. This is a fire cat. I think it works. Alright, so this is Husk and his band of criminals. Anyway, on to the next one, Vaggie. I'm gonna start off with my pure vibes one, Espeon. This is kind of just vibes. I think they work together. They're kind of mystical and soft-spoken, and I don't know. It just makes sense to me in a design perspective, I guess. But also the gold Pokedex entry says, Espeon uses the fine hair that covers its body to sense air currents and predict its enemies' actions. So, you know, there's kind of an element of fighting to it, and I consider Vaggie a very, like, warrior character. And for that reason as well, I wanted to choose Metagross as her next one. Not only does Metagross's mouth match Vaggie's eye, okay, is that the first thing I thought that made me choose it? Yeah, I'm stupid, it's fine. But Metagross is a crazy psychic rock with 4 brains, and even though Vaggie herself doesn't seem like a prodigy genius necessarily, I think intelligence is something that she values very heavily. She's also very defensive, so it all made a lot of sense to me. Next up, Arcanine. Can you not see Vaggie riding this fire doggo into battle? Also, Arcanine is one of my favorite Pokemon, so if you disagree, well, you could just fuck right off. Are they just a basic fire dog? Yeah, but I'm just a basic me. Alright, next one might please more people, Latios. The Sapphire Pokedex entry says that Latios will only open its heart to a trainer with a compassionate spirit. And I feel like Vaggie's relationship with Charlie makes that make a lot of sense to her as well. I think Latios would love Vaggie because she has a compassionate spirit, and the way that they're kind of soft-spoken and serious in their depictions really complements each other. It seems like a really good, like, soul choice for Vaggie. Number 5, Weavile. This may just be a design thing, but I could totally see them fighting together. Weavile's renowned for its coordination, and they've got this just kind of sleek design. I feel like they would fight in a similar way, just in terms of their animation. Also, if Vaggie wasn't in hell, I don't know why, I could see her living in a snowy area. And last, the perfect starter for Vaggie, I went with Decidueye. Warrior Ghost Owl? Fuck yeah. Super Artemis vibes? I'm super into this. The Sun entry says it fires arrow quills from its wings with such precision they can pierce a pebble at distances over 100 yards. Perfect for fighting. Again, they've got the same personality tone that I think would vibe really well together. Alright, so this is Vaggie and her warrior Pokemon. But for now, we're on to Angel Dust, one of my favorite characters. First one, Tepig. We're just gonna go with the starter right off the bat because obviously we gotta have somebody that kind of represents Angel's little pig pet, right? Come on. Next one is Ariados. Yeah, you know that there was gonna be a spider rep here, and there are other spider Pokemon as well, but I thought Ariados was the closest to Angel Dust design out of any of the other ones I was looking at. I don't know, the image of Angel Dust using Ariados in a Pokemon battle just sounds kind of lit to me. Next one, Melodic. Because they are canonically the most fabulous Pokemon. Like, actually, it says in the Pokedex that they are the most beautiful Pokemon. Like, I don't know how that works. That seems like a relative thing to me, but you know what? A scientist put it in the Pokedex. Either way, they're both fabulous. Angel matches the gorgeousness, so I thought they would work really well together. Next one is Gallade. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about this one. I think I've already given the fan base enough to work with. Next one is Mimikyu. And this is maybe my favorite choice for Angel Dust, because Mimikyu and Angel Dust actually have a lot in common. They both kind of are characterized by putting up this facade and not wanting people to see their true self. Pokedex entry for Mimikyu describes it as a lonely Pokemon. It conceals its terrifying appearance beneath an old rag so it can get closer to people and other Pokemon. And that sounds really sad and sweet, and I kind of feel that way about Angel Dust as well. Angel Dust kind of puts on a facade, but kind of wants to get close to people. I think these two would definitely find companionship together. I think this is also a soul choice for Angel. And can you not see Angel just holding this cute little puppet thing around? And lastly, Musharna. You know what Angel loves? Angel Dust. PCP or phencyclidine is a dissociative psychedelic with similar phenomenological characteristics to ketamine. And whereas most psychedelics that you could probably make a joke about this for, like Shroomish, generally make you feel like really awake. And Angel doesn't strike me as that kind of a person. They want something that's gonna bring them down a little bit more. And Musharna's got that trippy, sleepy psychedelic vibe. And now look, I might not know a lot about a lot of things, but
Cricket!
According to Black and White 2, the dream mist coming from its forehead changes into many different colors depending on the dream that was eaten. I think Angel Dust could sit around getting high with this thing, or on this thing. I don't know how it works. And that concludes Angel Dust and his pretty eclectic group of Pokemon. Next up is Nifty, and the first one I'm going with is Minccino. According to Pokemon White, these Pokemon prefer a tidy habitat. They are always sweeping and dusting and using their tails as brooms. I don't know why Nifty necessarily has this sense of wanting to clean everything, but she does, and I don't know why this Pokemon does either. But they do. Perfect. Next one is Woobat. They're both cute little one-eyed Halloween creatures, and I don't know, Nifty has Woobat vibes to me. I feel like they're both small and like, meh.
What?
Next one is Joltik. Kinda like Woobat, Nifty reminds me of like a hyperactive little bug. And I know that she's shown like viciously attacking bugs, and don't worry, I've got a Pokemon for that later too. But I don't know, Joltik has that like fast kind of energy, electric type. Nifty, I feel like if they were a Pokemon, they'd be electric type. So this seemed to be a good fit. Next is Honedge. Reasoning is very simple.
Charlie told me to stab, so I did.
Next up is Frolas. Okay, hear me out on this one. Frolas is actually terrifying, and I didn't even know until I started researching for this list. She apparently freezes her victims in ice, surely killing them only to keep them as decorations in her home. And like, I know that we meet a lot of twisted characters in this, but this seems like Nifty behavior.
I'm ready to punish some bad boys.
In the Pokemon Moon and Ultra Sun entries, players learn that its favorite food is the souls of men, but only if they're handsome, which also seems very Nifty.
The bad boy is back! Never leave me again.
I was actually shocked with how similar these two were. Okay, I think this is their soul choice. And lastly is Anorith, one of those bugs that Nifty obsesses over, and I mean, they're a literal fossil, so it makes me think maybe she's been keeping it for a really long time.
They're winning, but not for long.
And that concludes Nifty and her psychotic bunch. On to the snake lad Serpentious. Number 1 is Arbok. Okay, come on, it's obvious, right? Do I even need to talk about this one? They're both cobras. Okay, we done? Next is Togepi. You know, cause the little egg boys. I actually thought Togepi might even be his soul one because he's so connected to these egg creatures, and like, you know, obviously this, no better choice than Togepi for that.
Bruh.
It was cute, it made me happy. Next one is Superior. Oh wow, I just realized that Nifty didn't get a starter. Oh well. This is Serpentious' starter. Superior is just this kind of royal, dignified snake, which you'd think wouldn't actually fit the personality, but I count it because of the arc that Serpentious had. Superior is the Serpentious, Superior. I chose it. And no, I'm not only going to be doing snakes for Serpentious, though I totally could. Because the next one is Sliggoo. Okay, hear me out on this one. Sliggoo seems like the mad socially awkward Pokemon. And, I mean, come on, Serpentious is like that, too.
I was thinking maybe you'd want to, do a sex with me.
I love Serpentious, this makes sense to me. For number 5, I chose Golurk. This Pokemon kind of fits like a mech anime vibe for me, and we know that Serpentious likes building mechanical things. I feel like Serpentious would enjoy learning about the ancient research that was done to kind of design these creatures, because that's part of their whole lore, is they are like kind of machines, but from an ancient time. And I think he'd get a kick out of trying to learn to pilot it, like some sort of like, you know, cyborg robot that he could work with. And lastly, Volcarona. Because our boy did it. He grew his wings and became a legendary demon fucking butterfly. He's literally a legend, so he deserves a legendary... Well, I guess it's a moth. Whatever, he deserves a legendary moth. They both started as little slithery creatures and sprouted their wings into glorious greatness. That's his team of 6, and now we are on to Alistair.
Your status quo will know its race is run. Oh, this will be fun.
First one is Zoroark. Part of the reason I chose this is because this is one of the Pokemon that you use to make the Alistair fusion in Pokemon Infinite Fusion, which is a great game. And also the Pokemon Black Pokedex entry says that bonds between these Pokemon are very strong. It protects the safety of its pack by tricking its opponents. And you know what? I think Alistair is kind of developing in his arc a sort of like, you know, cherishing friendship love for the Hazbin Hotel group.
It's been a surprising thrill to witness these wayward souls find connection. Almost makes one sentimental, eh, Nifty?
I think this actually works perfectly for that. Next up is Ursalun. This is a Pokemon I don't actually know about. But you know what? They won me over for this pick because they have a Blood Moon form, and they reminded me the most of the Wendigo from Native American folklore, which kind of seems to have an influence in Alistair's character design. The Blood Moon form looks demonic as shit. One of its eyes gets this special power in. It kind of just gave me design similarities to what I feel like Alistair is in his demon form. Next one is Tangrowth, because no Pokemon defines bind as good as Tangrowth.
No bond stronger than those formed through bondage.
Which is the Pokemon move, and I'm relating it to Alistair being chained. I figured I'd have to clarify that. There's definitely a deeply laid emotional state in Alistair where he feels chained.
Big talk for someone who's also on a leash.
What did you say?
He needs a Pokemon that's kind of covered in binding material as a, you know, like, oh, this is kind of me. Also, it's kind of, hear me out, this Pokemon is actually horrific. If I ran into this thing, I would be terrified. Next up is Impidimp. I didn't choose the full evolution of this Pokemon because this little thing reminds me of Nifty in a way, and I feel like having a small little trickster demon alongside a big trickster demon just made too much sense to not choose. I don't know much about this Pokemon, but I really liked their design and thought that they fit Alistair perfectly. Next up is Darkrai, and good lord, is this not just perfect? This crazy nightmare demon, it works with Alistair because Alistair is a demon that I see in my nightmares. Maybe their power systems aren't actually that similar. Maybe I just think Darkrai is scary and Alistair's scary, but you know what? That's enough for me. And also it gives that epic legendary vibes that I think Alistair deserves. And lastly, Houndoom. In the Pokedex of Gold, it says if you are burned by the flames it shoots from its mouth, the pain will never go away. Literally ever. That is literal torture fire. Like, we like Alistair, but, like, guys, Alistair is kind of fucked up.
If you ever say that again, I will tear your soul apart and broadcast your screams for every other disrespectful wretch who dares to question me.
He is very sadistic, and fire that gives you pain that will never go away is right up his alley. Am I wrong? No, I'm not. And that is Alistair's team of 6. God, that's a scary looking bunch. I would not want to fight that. And that concludes all of the members of Hazbin Hotel, the actual hotel themselves, so you might be wondering, who's the bonus character that I'm going with? I had to go with the big boss of hell himself.
Looks like you could use some help from the big boss of hell himself.
Yes, I am doing Lucifer.
Okay, I walked right into that one.
You might be wondering if I saved the devil Pokemon Giratina for this, but...
See, you messed with my daughter, and now I am going to fuck you!
Well, this just got interesting.
Lucifer doesn't really have Giratina vibes, let's be real. But another legendary does. Jirachi the Wishmaker. the hopeless romantic that Lucifer is, would absolutely use this Pokemon to make all of these wishes and dreams come true.
He was a dreamer with fantastical ideas for all of creation.
Look at the cute little magic ducks, which we'll get to in a second. Actually, you know what? Let's just get to it now.
Presenting the Magic-tastical back-flipping rubber duck!
Psyduck. Because ducks. And confusion. It's more perfect than it ought to be. And next up for him, I've got Kricketune. Okay, I know it might seem like a lame Pokemon for him to have, but homie can play a violin with this lame little bug dude, and I think they would vibe. Like, tell me you don't see these two just jamming and vibing together in Lucifer's weird little lone apartment. It looks like an apartment. It's probably a big house. That's how small they made his personality feel and how dejected he was. He probably has this huge mansion, but just it felt so tiny because he felt so cramped even though the space was actually big. Sorry, I'm just praising the show. This is about Pokemon. I gotta take this f***ing seriously. And speaking of serious, I chose Absol for their next one. Even though it's a dark type, it looks totally angelic, especially in its mega form. And who more perfect for the Dark Angel than the literal OG Fallen Angel? Also, Absol has that mad edgelord energy that Lucifer
You like girls! Yes, so do I! We have so much in common!
kinda needs. Next up is the legendary Zygarde. He has a snake-like form, but also shapeshifts, and those are perfect for Lucifer, the guy who turned into a snake and did the whole apple thing in the Garden of Eden. Zygarde is also a protector of the environment, and I feel like Lucifer actually is kind of now a protector of his environment in hell. Not necessarily in a sustainability way, unless he is, that's great. If there's one message that I could communicate to you, it's that we should care about the planet and, like, actually invest some learning. God, nobody cares. I bet so many people just clicked away from the video because of hippie. But we're talking about Pokemon serious. The destruction of our environment isn't serious at all. I feel like Lucifer actually has an arc where he's starting to care about his domain and the citizens of Hell a lot more, and I feel like Zygarde would have that kind of a vibe. And lastly, you might be wondering if Lucifer gets a starter, because some other people didn't, and maybe you're not wondering that at all, but they do! I chose Delphox as the sick fox magician that Lucifer gets to play around with. God, not like that. Why can't I just talk about Pokemon internet? What's wrong with you? Magician is literally this Pokemon's ability, and they have a wand. And Lucifer, for some reason, just has magician vibes to me. I don't know if it's the outfit, or if it's the fact that they have actual powers and they're kind of busted, or maybe it's just their personality, or all of the above, but it just seemed like those two would be the starter and trainer that would go perfectly together. And I can't think of a better choice of all the starters. That said, this is Lucifer's illustrious team of 6. But let me know what you think. Do you have different choices for these Pokemon? What characters would have other ones? Why you're mad that I didn't include Cherry Bomb on the list? And all of those other great comments down below. While you're down there, don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace, everyone. When I say peace, I really mean it.